Adaaaaaaa! Rubric family, how's everybody doing today? Saturday, the beginning of the Survivor Series weekend. We have War Games previews and predictions for you guys today. I have the whole panel. Ryan, Jean Paul, Egg, how we doing, guys?
Good.
Ready to talk about War Games today, huh? Let's do
Yep,
it.
absolutely.
Well, always, we want to say thank you to everybody that's been watching our videos, all the family, all the fans. Ryan has Monday Night Raw, great video, everything that took care of that show. It started out in a brawl, then we have NXT with John Paul and myself, another brawl, and then SmackDown I did yesterday. Hope you guys are watching those videos. Another brawl. So it's been a lot of brawls and everything. It was
Yeah.
semi-decent shows, I want to say. Out of the three of them, Raw was a little more interesting than
Yeah,
anything.
I would say Raw was definitely probably the best. If you're going off just like the main roster shows, Raw was the best this week, I'd say.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you think?
I would agree. Finally, we got a decent Raw, which I was very happy about. It
Yeah.
was really a little bit intriguing. So,
Yeah,
and
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was decent because you had like out of maybe 12 segments or however many there were, like a quarter of them were good, but we'll take it for right.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean, I'm not
we'll
saying that
take-
this is acceptable, but at least it was better than what we were getting.
even
Yeah,
it is
so.
it is in Ryan's title, a decent Raw. That's
Yeah,
something that we
decent.
haven't seen.
That's the
We
best
haven't seen in
given.
such a long time because every time it's bullshit. Another lackluster crap Raw because it's been crappy, but this time it was at least semi decent. So,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna talk about that. Let's talk about what's taking place tonight. WWE NXT War Games.
Yep. And the one thing I just want to say, and I want to know both your opinions, the build, obviously, I feel like we can all say has been a little weak for War Games. They built towards it, but then I feel like instead of drawing out the build, they just kind of announced a lot of the matches and gave us all the build right away. And we still had a whole week where it was like, what are we going to fill this week with? And then it was all just Survivor Series build. And then we almost forget about War Games. But with all that being said, I still think this War Games will be good. But I don't know how you guys felt about like the build going into it.
Well, Ryan, start us off.
to me, and I don't know whether this was more of Vince or Triple H. I don't know what happened there, but I do feel as though a lot of it went more towards Survivor Series because of NXT showing up on Raw, all of the main roster people showing up on NXT, NXT on SmackDown. All of the build has been highly pushed towards Survivor Series instead of War Games. And I feel like War Games was kind of an afterthought instead of kind of being on equal ground.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like War Games was kind of mentioned a little bit later this year. I don't know if.
Oh yeah, definitely. They could have.
No?
That's what I mean. There was no. I feel like, especially with takeover shows, Triple H always the build is there for like weeks and weeks. There was no build, no build, no build. Then in like 2 or 3 weeks, we got all the build, all the matches were announced, everything was set in place pretty much, except they had to do a last minute Matt Riddle and Finn Balor match that got changed, unfortunately. But they built everything in 2 weeks, and then it was all Survivor Series. But with all that being said, I still think this is going to be a good show.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think they didn't do as much as a good job like hyping it up just because they were trying to establish their show in the USA Network. They were trying to kind of beat AEW, which they did for this week. And I think that's where they put more of their attention. Their focus was just driven towards that rather than just give us like War Games. And like you guys said, like 3 weeks into like the pay-per-view, they just start like pumping everything. And yeah, this last show, pretty much there was no build towards like the Adam Cole and Dan Jacobic's match. Other than that, we didn't see anything because it was just brawl fest. We got to see just pretty much the whole roster pretty much used for, and they gave us a lot of dream matches, but that's all it was. So let's start covering all the matches and our thoughts about it. So Jean Paul Egg started out with like the first match.
I guess recently announced for the pre-show, it's going to be Isaiah Swerve Scott against Angel Garza. So I was hoping actually they might have announced Angel Garza versus Leo Rush again for Survivor. Now I would have had this on Survivor Series. I mean, it could have been on this show as well, either or. but have it be for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yes.
And I would
yeah.
have liked to maybe see, like maybe he wins and then they have a few, not saying you just hot potato the title, but I mean, we all love Angel Garza, not just on this channel, but everybody in the wrestling community loves this guy. So, give him the title and then, I don't, not nothing against Leo Rush because he's just as good. But for this match, I feel with all that being said, Isaiah Swerve Scott, he had a lot of wins under his belt on NXT recently, but I think it's going to go to Angel Garza.
Oh yeah,
That's what I think.
Ryan,
I mean, it'll be a great
what do
match.
you think about this match?
Well, I'm looking at the card for Survivor Series, and I see the NXT Cruiserweight Championship is supposed to be defended on Survivor Series. It's Leo Rush versus Angel Garza.
Oh, well, then there we go.
Oh, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
So maybe he'll ride the momentum from this. Hopefully he wins, and then...
Yeah, I feel as though I'm now, maybe that's a typo. I don't know, but as long as that's true, yes, I agree that Garza will win, and then that carries the momentum into Survivor Series, where you can have at least it's a believable opponent going in to face Rush right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. Angel Garza is really big right now, at least for me. I think the three of us,
Yeah,
I want to say, it reminds us like a good Eddie Guerrero. He's like Alberto Del Rio. The gimmick is there. The guy is absolutely great in the ring. He has a lot of great moves, and I think the crowd loves him because of all the gimmicky when he takes the pants off. So we'll see. Hopefully, I think they're going to do this to start the pay-per-view hot. Cruiserweights, they put on the best shows out of everything, and also because they don't have enough matches announced. They have to go with two guys that they know that they can put something strong to start the pay-per-view with.
And that's the thing, like you said, both these... Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just saying that's always the Cruiserweights for me to start the pay-per-view off, because with all the high-flying action they do, that can always get a crowd hot.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes.
Go, John Paul.
But I feel the only negative thing I'll say about this match is Isaiah Swerve Scott. Like I said, he's had a lot of momentum recently. So now it's almost like you built this guy up just so Angel Garza gets a win over him. So Angel Garza has all of that momentum then, because it's like, oh, he beat a guy who was hot. I would have liked if maybe it was somebody different, but in that being said, Isaiah Swerve Scott, with how much work he's put in so far and how good he is, he deserves to be on the takeover, even if it is the pre-show. So as long as they put on a good match, I don't think it'll hurt him too much, but it is one thing to consider.
Oh, it is.
His first takeover, he gets a loss after having momentum, but as long as they book him correctly afterwards, he'll be fine.
I think so too. Like Ryan said, is the Cruiserweights is something that is going to pump you up. Cruiserweights to me, they imitate that the good old WCW, the Cruiserweights, good matches. You need the crowd to be extremely hot because, of course, Takeover is always hot, is always good, but they need something to start it out really, really good, because I don't think as singles matches they don't have really a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, Finn Balor and Riddle is one match, and then they have the triple threat, but that's it.
Yeah, those are the only two singles matches.
Yeah, so hopefully they put on a good show, or they give us some kind of story going into tomorrow. And hopefully, one thing that I'm going to mention to both of you is the fact that they're wrestling back-to-back nights is going to be kind of iffy, because we'll see a lot of injuries maybe going into from today to tomorrow. So that's one thing to really consider, is how hard are you going to go into this knowing that you have to fight the next night?
The one thing I will say is you better believe Wednesday night we're going to see a lot of Bronson Reeds and a lot of those guys wrestling. All these guys who wrestled War Games, SmackDown last night, they're going to be coming out in promos. They'll be in the ice bath all Wednesday before the taping. You know what I mean? So
that's what I'm saying. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, for me, I have to say, when it comes down to it, I know there's going to be a lot of injuries, but also I think they're so used to it because they're on such a rigorous schedule. With the house shows, working almost 300 days a year, these guys have to be used to some sort of schedule like that. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know about some of the other people that don't get as much time to showcase their work like that. Because most of the house shows that I've seen come around here, it's some more of the bullshit guys, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's not many of the bigger names, but um, I want to say that they're at least, you know, prepared for all of this when it comes down to wrestling. You know, like their bodies are prepared for back-to-back nights and everything to do
I
all this.
just hope that, for example, we see some kind of good action, and we're able to see the same guys tomorrow. Because I will be, hey, he got beat up so bad that something happened, and he won't be able. Like they get out of some of the matches. So
Yeah,
that
I
will be
feel
something
like
that
if
I
that
will consider.
yeah, that would only be like a freak accident thing. I don't see that like actually happening unless they do it for storyline purposes. But moving on, then the next match, I guess we'll go to the other singles match, Matt Riddle versus Finn Balor.
There you go. How about you? Start us off, Ryan. What do you think about this match? Johnny Gargano got taken out of this because of a neck injury. What are your thoughts? Are you excited to see this? And who wins and why?
I'm very excited to see this. I mean, like I said, I don't like the actual Riddle character per se, but he's an excellent wrestler, and so is Balor. And now that Balor is back on television in the right role, it's going to be fantastic. So I think it's going to be a great match. Both guys are going to put on a hell of a match. But what I'm kind of I don't know who to give the win to here. That's what I'm kind of I want to back and forth here. You know, I'm kind of like, who do you give the win to?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think?
For me, I'm going with Finn Balor. I got to go all in with Finn Balor because the way how he pretty much said he was doing the job on the main roster, like he was a joke. He just went up there and he got people over when he's the hottest thing in wrestling, and WWE, they just don't know it. So now he's going to bring that to NXT and he's going to show everybody. Yeah. Matt Riddle's one of those guys where even though he lost, here and there, like to guys like Adam Cole and stuff like that in the past, Killian,
yes.
and all that.
He still looks strong.
Yeah. The fans are still behind him. They love the whole bro thing, and as like you said, he's so talented in the ring. He can just get over with that. So you need to just like fast track Finn Balor to whatever they have for him, whether it's him and Ciampa or him and Adam Cole or Gargano when he comes back. Even though I think we are going to see Gargano tonight. I'll go into that later, but I feel like it needs to go to Finn Balor just to prove that what he said and everything is true. Because if he's like, oh, blah blah blah, this and that, and then comes to NXT and loses, it's like, dude, you might as well just stay on the main roster.
And I agree there. That's where I'm hoping that's what happens, because Finn Balor, to me, thank God he came back to NXT, and he's the character he is now instead of what he was for so long on the main roster that everybody just got sick and tired of him. So
Smiley Finn. And he became a underwear model. And I agree with both of you guys. I think you need to give this guy the win, plain and simple, because the guy turned heel. He needs a good, legitimate win so he can be over again. He needs to he's looking for validation. And validation, the only way you can obtain that is by beating somebody as good as Matt Riddle. So the match is going to be legit. I think he's going to try to cheat to win. And that's how it's going to be.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think he'll hit a move and then get the pinfall, whether it's the coup de grace or whatever he's going to use to finish him. I don't think it'll be a roll-up or anything, like sketchy like that. But there are going to be some heel tactics. There's
going to be some heel tactics from Finn Balor, which is good because I know we all love the guy. To me, his offense is a little bit, it needs some tweaks because he does for me the stomp way too much.
Yeah.
Oh, Finn Balor?
Yeah, because it reminds me of Riho. That's all you know how to do.
Yeah,
Can you give me a punch?
His moveset is definitely more like babyface driven, but I think he'll change it up a little bit tonight. Like he's more like flashy and jumpy, and that doesn't remind me like
Sling Blade. I love his Sling Blade. I love like some of the moves, but I hate the fact, I don't know if you guys agree with me. I know it's nitpicking, but he has to turn the guy down to hit the stomp. And I'm like, can you just hit a punch? Can you do a suplex? Can you do something different rather than give me that whole spot that you gotta lay there and then boom? I'm like, come on. So that's for me just a little bit nitpicking to both of them.
which I don't know if that's just the wrestlers themselves or what, but a lot of wrestlers, they have the same match every time.
Yep.
And it's like, what? It's like, can't, do something different, but, well.
And
So,
well, but like, yeah, after
yeah,
all, I think it's going to be a good match, and I hope all the three of us can enjoy this. And I feel that, like, yeah, Finn Balor needs to get the one. Yes, we need a good Finn Balor, whoever goes next, because we have to see what is he going after this. So
yeah.
moving on.
And then after that, we have Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane versus Damien Priest. And this will determine the number one contender to, I'm going to just flat out say, lose tomorrow to Adam Cole.
Yeah, I mean, it is
Because
true. It is true.
I don't see Adam Cole. I don't see any of these guys. Because my predicted winner is Damien Priest, just because I feel they put so much into him. And Killian Dane and Pete Dunne really don't like each other, and I feel that's a program that they're going to move into. So it's like, all right, those two are going to be in a future program. So then Damian Priest is a guy who they have a lot of stock into. He has those really quick matches and all that. So what do we do with him? Put him against Adam Cole, give those guys 15 minutes on Sunday, have a great match, but Cole still wins. So I think that's who's going to win. I say Damian Priest wins.
That's your prediction.
Yeah.
I'm going to go against you, and I'm going to say actually Pete Dunne gets the win.
There you
Pete
go.
Dunne
I like the difference. I don't like when we all agree.
I know we love that. Like, I know you like when we don't think alike. Yeah, Pete Dunne to me, because just Pete Dunne and Adam Cole will put a classic.
Oh, for sure.
And it will put like a classic, and to me, not even 15 minutes. They have to go 20, 25 minutes. Hopefully they do that. But Pete Dunne is. I think that Damian Priest is really legit. I enjoy the arrow and everything, and how like the letters like light up and everything. He's a hell of a wrestler, and of course he's Puerto Rican, so I kind of have to support a little bit. A little bias right there. But Pete Dunne needs more of a main event status because he's been in the mid card for the longest time. So I want to give that to Pete Dunne. I'm a little biased because the bitter end. Ryan knows this. That's my finisher, so I love that freaking move. So I will go to Pete Dunne. But Killian Dane also, like, he's a hell of a wrestler. So I really think that like having this triple threat is good for him. Where do they go from there? I don't know.
This is the only thing I'm going to say, and then Ryan, give us your prediction and everything. The only reason I also picked Damian Priest, besides the fact I think the other two are going to be in a future program, is because it's inevitable that Cole isn't going to drop it to one of these guys tomorrow. So unless they would, the only one I could see them doing that would be Pete Dunne. But I don't know if you would even do that, because Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era are so hot. So who's the guy who can afford to lose that, like you said, because you won't want to see Pete Dunne lose tomorrow. No. You wouldn't want to see Killian Dane lose, and that's not even believable because Killian Dane should be able to beat Adam Cole, just the size difference. Yes. So to me, it should be Damien Priest. But Ryan, tell us.
Ryan, take us off. Take us off, buddy.
For me, I think Eck already hit kind of every single point. I think I'm going with Priest, and I think that Pete Dunne and Killian Dane are actually going to be concentrating on each other throughout the match so much that's how Priest is going to end up winning the match.
Yeah, and what I don't know if they're gonna, if you guys watch NXT UK, but that would be something that you could even move their feud on both shows to try to boost the ratings for that. I don't know what you guys think about that.
That would
what are your thoughts about Killian Dane, Ryan? Can you build this guy as like such a massive force that he could go after the NXT Championship after this feuds, or do you keep him as mid card?
For me, I think you definitely could, because to me, he's such a physical force in the ring, and he's athletic as hell. But right now, Cole is so hot right now, and I don't think it, like X said, I don't think it's believable that Killian Dane wouldn't be able to beat Adam Cole.
It is true. It is true. I one quick question for both of you guys. A few weeks ago, you guys are old school. You guys love that part of history wrestling. Superstar Billy Graham told Adam Cole to go and buy like a can of steroids, and just like, because he's a little bit too small. What are your thoughts about that? Does Adam Cole need to bulk up a little bit? Start us off, Egg, and then Ryan will go.
I like old school mentality of booking and storytelling. Old school wrestlers, no. The big bodybuilders who can drop an elbow and that's it, no. Get them out of here. The most old school wrestling I like are guys like the Bret Harts and Bob Backlunds and like Mr. Perfects, Macho Man, guys like that. That's his old school, Ricky Steamboat, guys like that. So superstar Billy Graham, he was another one of them steroid monkeys, muscle heads. No, he comes out, he says one thing one week, how he blows up a guy and this guy's junk, like how he said Adam Cole, takes some steroids, and then the next week he's apologizing and saying, oh, this and that, and so I don't really care anything he has to say.
All right, Ryan, Mr. Weber.
That is for superstar Billy Graham.
That's right.
Because Billy Graham has said that about several of the superstars who are small in the ring. The smaller superstars have always been better wrestlers. Billy Graham, I don't care how many superstars he inspired, okay? The ones he inspired ended up sucking in the ring, like Hulk Hogan, okay? He ended up inspiring like X said, the muscle heads and stuff like that who could not wrestle. And he's another one who could not wrestle. The only thing he did was a freaking bear hug and a freaking punch. What else could he do? So to me, I'm sorry, the guy's mentality when it comes to wrestling needs to change. He's old school where, back then, all you had to do was take steroids and you have just huge muscles to be the top guy in the ring. That's not how it is anymore. I'm sorry, but today, the wrestling business, again, every decade, the wrestling business changes constantly. It's an ever-changing business, and today, the smaller guys are the ones that need to put on the better matches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Today, the marks eat up the flippy shit.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you gotta feed them. You gotta feed them what they're hungry for.
That is true.
And nobody's hungry for a superstar Billy Graham.
Because it's interesting to talk about these things, to give Gabriel an intermission because as we keep going. But yeah, like I just feel that Adam Cole is the hottest thing that WWE has.
Hey, yeah.
Even hotter than The Fiend. Don't you want to say Adam Cole, baby? Don't you want to say
for me
WrestleMania?
You remember Raw, and there was one town that they went to where nobody did that when he came out into the Adam Cole Bay. And I got so pissed off because it was like everybody had insomnia in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You just go throw your money because if you're not going to do it, don't go.
Right.
Well, before to just comment on that and then we'll move on. I feel like a lot of these WWE crowds are people who are winning these tickets on radio giveaways, or it's like a buy one get three free. They're not invested in the wrestling. There's probably like the three of us there going baby, but you can't hear us because 90% of the crowd is like, you know what I mean? So they're on their phones. They're not paying attention.
That is true.
So
that is true.
Moving on, we will go. Oh, do you have a comment quick or?
Oh no, I'm going to move us along. Move us along.
So moving on, then we'll go into the women's war game match. So we have Team Ripley, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox, and Mia Yim versus Team Baszler, Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, and Kaylee Ray.
One quick thought, because you guys, I mentioned this on the reviews and the channel SmackDown review for you guys to watch, but I want the brothers to talk about, how about Toni Storm being part of the NXT women's team for the Survivor Series, but not being added onto WarGames? So,
well, who did they take out of that team?
Who will be? I think
because it was Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae. Wasn't there 6 women out there?
No, there were 5. There were 5. Tegan Nox. It was Tegan Nox, Mia Yim, Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, and Rhea Ripley. So yeah, there were 5. Okay. But I think WarGames is just 4, so they didn't.
Oh yeah.
They couldn't add a heel in the face.
That's me who's fucked up. Yeah. You're right. But that's to me. I mean, I guess there's really not a lot of other women. I would have rather seen. I mean, I guess I'll go into this in the Survivor Series. I just don't like how it's the same women in both shows. I understand you want to. These are your main top women. You want to get them over, And out of all the women that they could have chose, you know, you have the Xia Li and all those other. I feel like Toni Storm was definitely the best person to pick for that. Just
But
to
see,
go
my
into that.
question to you, and then I want Ryan because I know Ryan is a big fan of Tony Storm. Why wouldn't you add her into War Games?
I just
Wouldn't
think
that be,
because
like, making the match even more interesting?
yeah,
For
but
example, I
she's all
understand Mia Yim did an excellent job, but why wouldn't you just go with Tony Storm, knowing how over she is?
Toni Storm's the main woman. That would be like saying, now I'm not comparing their, you know, characters and everything together, but that would be like saying we're gonna have a match of, you know, these undercard really good workers that we like, but they're gonna insert John Cena in there. Like Toni Storm's already made. You know, you want to get women like a Tegan Knox over more, try to get Mia Yim over, even Candice LeRae. You know, people like her, but you're really trying to get her to that main event. I feel like Toni Storm's already there, so that's why they're showcasing these women.
Well,
And
good.
she's also a main staple on NXT UK, or
That's
she
that's
does a
it.
lot
That's
more
good.
stuff there as well. So that's what I
All right,
think.
all right, Goat. Let us know.
I'm thinking they kept Tony Storm out because in the end, I don't see Baszler taking a pinfall and losing this match. You know, Baszler's team's going to end up winning this, and that way Tony doesn't take a pinfall.
Yeah,
And, I mean, I think Tony needs to always stay strong. You know, she needs to look good. And in the end, you know, for me, that's how War Games works, right? Everybody needs to be pinned. You know, everybody enters, or is it just one pinfall?
No, it's one pin. It's not elimination. It's one pin. It's like if somebody pins from your team, and then that's it.
Because I always fuck that up. But see, that's where like if you do it that way, then maybe I would have added her in because I don't know what it is about Mia Yim, but I can't get behind her.
What about the ladder match though? Didn't she put a good stuff in the ladder match with Io Shirai though?
She did, but I think that was more because that was a stipulation match. When I watched her with Baszler in the ring, you know, I remember dating back when she had the title match. Like, I don't know. There was something about her that I just couldn't get behind her.
Okay. Yeah. Like that's what I wanted to hear both of you guys' opinion because I was in a way I was a little bit bothered by it because it's like it's freaking Tony Storm. That's gonna enhance your match 10 times even more. But anyway, let's move. Yeah, let's move on. Ek, what are your thoughts about the War Games for the women?
Who I think is gonna win? I agree with what Ryan said. I think Shayna Baszler's team's gonna win, just for the fact that I think it just makes the more sense storyline wise because I think Dakota Kai is gonna come out and she's gonna screw all this up and she's gonna turn heel. She might even attack one of the women beforehand. That could be something they do before the show starts. You know, you don't know what they're going to do, but I feel like she's going to make an appearance at some point and cost, you know, the faces this match. So I'm going with the heels.
I'm going with the heels. Ryan? You already said it, but in what fashion? You elaborate a little more for us.
For me, I don't know about Dakota Kai yet. I'd like to see that, though, because, you know, we haven't seen a heelish yet Dakota Kai, have we? You know?
No.
So I'd like to see that, you know, because to me, you know, I don't know. To me, I don't want to say Bailey because she's not Bailey, but, you know, I want to see a more heelish character from her because, you know, I don't know. She seems to me like, and I don't know what it is about a heel, but to me, with a heel dynamic, you can always do so much more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You can do a lot more things when you have a heel. You can be different. You can be like Jericho. You can insult the crowds. You can tell you guys blow. You guys suck.
And
All of you, can blow. You can do so much being a heel because the range is just like you pick. You just have your own range when it comes to being a heel. You choose your grounds. You choose the extent of what you can do. So
that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. Hopefully we can get some blood, some juice. It will be nice to see the women doing that, at least for me.
Oh yeah, okay? No, I mean to me in a War Games match, how can you have that match without having any color? There's no way. Somebody has to bleed. I mean,
Hopefully a little bit at least, right?
we saw Charlotte. Now, I think she did it unintentionally. I think she actually busted her nose, but you saw freaking blood last night on SmackDown.
Yeah, and then see, they
Charlotte.
acknowledge it. The doctor didn't come out. They
Yeah.
don't. They were not like that.
So to
So
me, I think you're gonna. I mean, I hope you see it the way Mia Yim was swinging that kendo stick the other night, and just the match that they had. That ladder match was so intense. I think you're gonna
yeah.
have to see some
Oh yeah,
blood.
and I hope it's a good showing for Tegan Knox. She's a great wrestler too.
Mhm.
Hope it's good for Io Shirai, Bianca Belair. They're all great wrestlers, so it's going to be intense.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully, I'm hoping for trash cans, candlesticks,
So,
tables, and all of that.
did you
Ladders.
predict the heels as well, or who you
My
picking?
prediction is I want to go with that, but no, of course I got to counter both of you, so the faces will win. And this is what's going to happen. Yeah, and for me, this is what's going to happen. You see, Ryan gave me the idea. You and Ryan gave me the idea. Dakota Kai is going to injure one of them, one of the members of Rhea Ripley's team. Maybe Mia Yim. And then Tony Storm will get added to that.
Interesting.
We'll
Tony
see.
Storm will get added, and then the faces win. With
I mean,
Toni Storm doing
the only cool thing I'd like to see with Tony Storm is for her
Storm Zero.
to see her beat the shit out of Kaylee Ray, because that's who beat her for the title and stuff. I
And
think
that's
that'd
what
be
I
cool.
mean, because
Yeah.
you have a little bit of a feud right there. You have a connection in that, and then you can just follow with that, because then you can be like, oh, Mia Yim is out of the match. They can do that. And it's like, well, who do we add? Who do we add? And Dakota Kai get even more pissed off because they add Tony Storm, and then we can kind of see a heel turn Bunn in the week after.
Yeah, they could
That's
definitely.
my prediction right there.
There's lots of possibilities. So now to what is most likely going to be the main event. We have the Undisputed Era versus Team Ciampa. And Team Ciampa, they're still one guy down. They have obviously Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, and to be determined. So Ryan, do you think that they will have a fourth man going into it? Do you think someone will come out during the match, or do you think the whole thing will be handicapped? And who do you think is going to win?
And if and who's your pick to be that fourth member? Because that is something that John Paul and I completely didn't elaborate when we did our review.
Well, we got to save it for here. We had to save it for here.
That's fine. See, that's why we did it. That's why we did it, the Robert family. So don't hate. We save it for here. Ryan, who's the fourth man?
For me, I'm going to go with Gargano. And whether or not he's actually cleared or not, I don't know. I have not read up on that. But I hope that they have kind of kept that quiet and have been able to. And I hope that he's the one that is their kind of mystery opponent. And he's the one. Now, again, I'm going to predict that nobody shows up. And everybody is released into the War Games match, and it's a handicap match throughout, and then that's when Gargano will come out.
So, like, while the match is going on?
Yes. And
yeah.
Like, the timer will go down, for their last guy to come out, but it's not going to happen because, obviously they don't have another guy there, but then Gargano will come out during the match and show up, and that's when all hell will break loose, and I'm going to go with Ciampa.
Ciampa's team for you. Okay.
One,
okay.
You go. I don't want you having to break a tie. I'm gonna let you go second. I'll go last.
Okay, well then you break the tie, because for me, I'm gonna go with Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era is the highest thing in wrestling right now. Because imagine, guys, if it wouldn't be for the Undisputed Era, you don't have a stable as strong in any of the wrestling promotions. You don't have anything like that in New Japan. You don't have, I will say the one thing that is comparable, but is not even doing justice enough, is the Inner Circle. Because the Inner Circle, they've been together for 2 months, 3 months. The Undisputed Era
the only thing I would say is just now this also transcends wrestling, but the Elite, I would say, is probably the biggest.
Yeah, of course. But see, for example, when I think,
as of right now,
a faction like we used to say, because I know you love Evolution, and Ryan and I pretty much we've been fans of Evolution for years. It's like Evolution, something like 4 guys. Like you and me, John Paul. Remember, we used to joke around. We're Evolution.
Yeah.
You're there, you're here. Ryan, we used to always say, you're me, you're Flair, you're Triple H. I haven't seen this in such a long time. It's like a staple that is together for for like years, and
Oh
they don't
yeah.
see you don't see cracks in the relationship. Everybody's helping the other one, and they all have goal. Something that the three of us predicted in August.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We did say that they were gonna have goals. So see, you can see Triple H is watching Rubric.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for me, the Velveteen Dream comes back.
You're
That
gonna
would
pick
be
the
nice
dream,
too.
dude.
Velveteen Dream comes back. I've been saying that. I'm
But
the
he's
Velveteen
legit.
Dream.
I'm telling you, he's legit hurt.
Well, I'm telling you, he is
Because
legit clear. He is legit
I
clear,
only
and
so
he comes back, and he's the one that helps out. But in the end, they fall short
That would be
because there's going to be tension between the baby faces. In this case, with Keith Lee, Dan Jakovic, there's going to be an interaction between the two of them, and all the shake hands is going to be forgotten. And then Adam Cole gets the win. Last shot and done.
who
But the
does he
match is
pin?
going to be outstanding, and then you see a little bit of open for Champa and Adam Cole for later on in the year for the
But
Royal Rumble week.
this, I'm going to go with Team Champa, and I'm going to say Gargano comes out. I was thinking it could have been Kevin Owens,
Mm.
maybe been the fourth guy, but I don't. I think that storyline you can let that cook. That's like again when I said you put in a crock pot and you let that slow cook all day. You don't need to
For
rush
four
that
hours.
meal.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for 4 hours.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, I think it's going to be Gargano only because I saw today WWE retweeted it and all this other stuff. Gargano, he tweeted, "This is the first takeover I'm missing." Blah blah blah. A broken heart emoji. Hashtag Johnny Takeover. All this other stuff. WWE's retweeting it all and like sharing it and all this stuff. They don't make a big deal of stuff like that for no reason. Obviously, they retweet a lot of stuff that their wrestlers tweet and all this other stuff, but you're going to make a big deal about that. And it's like, I think he's coming back. And if he comes back, just to have him lose, it's like, why bring him back now? Like, why have him debut? And it's like, oh, he's going to help. And then they lose. That would be like when John Cena returned for the Rumble. Like, you just going to have him lose?
Oh yeah,
People go,
no,
you
no,
know what I mean? Like, what
no,
would be the
no,
point?
no.
Yeah.
I just feel like
So,
the
and then,
yeah. Go ahead. No, finish your thought. Finish
and
your thought.
also, I feel the next program is Champa and Cole. And if Undisputed Era wins, why would Cole accept Champa? He'd be like, dude, I don't care if you didn't lose the belt to me. You didn't beat me at War Games. Get to the back of the line. Why am I going to accept your challenge? So I feel Ciampa's team needs to win so he can use that to be like, now you got to give me my match, my title match kind of deal.
It is a fair point. It's a fair point. Thoughts for both of you guys. Keith Lee. I know that Jean Paul pretty much is a huge fan of Keith Lee. He's the champion at Ryan's house. Hopefully
I
he holds
bask
the
in his
belt.
glory.
Yeah, yeah, he hasn't. Yeah, so what are your thoughts of Keith Lee, Ryan? Is he's becoming like really, really over with the crowd,
Yeah.
especially both nights he had the stare that he did the power bomb on McIntyre. He had an interaction with Strowman last night. What are your thoughts about Keith Lee? Can we see Keith Lee at some point holding the NXT Championship?
I think so. I think once Cole has his reign and unfortunately has to depart to the main roster.
Unfortunately,
Um,
let's save that word, guys. Unfortunately,
yes, I mean, I like once that has happened, there may be other guys that I have in front of him, but I think he definitely at some point I can see holding the belt.
and then I have the current WWE champion at Ryan's house, Jean Paul Keith Lee. Do you see Keith Lee holding that NXT championship at some point?
Absolutely. And there's so many guys, like there's so many stories, like Ryan said, he might not be the one to take it from Cole, or if, because they're going, they're going to give it back to Champa. I feel that's inevitable. He's going to have that belt at least one more time. So, and I feel storyline wise, he is, if he's not next in line, he's definitely the one after that. But, Champa could give it to a guy like Matt Riddle. We've seen Matt Riddle and Keith Lee team. That could be a program. Or Dominic Dijakovic could win it, and Keith Lee could take it from him. And then if Keith Lee has it, you could have a believable match with a guy like Killian Dane, because then it's like, okay, Dane could legitimately lose his match. Because if you put him in a match with someone who's smaller, he should be able to beat that guy just on the size alone. So that opens the door then to allow these big guys, because that's why I feel a lot of these big guys don't get championship matches, because it wouldn't be believable to make them lose, and you don't want the guy who weighs half their size to win, even though it's wrestling and we should suspend our disbelief. You still don't want to bury your monster talent.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
So all in all, I think Keith Lee's definitely going to win it at some point, at least the North American Championship, if not anything else.
I strongly agree with that. I mean, the guys, I'm getting behind him just for the power bomb alone.
Oh yeah,
How
the
like the
Spirit
guys like
Bomb
sell
and
that when he
yeah,
did on McIntyre? How like he sold that, and the guy from the Street Profits. I don't know which one of them was, but
yeah.
it was just great. And I knew you pop, Jean
Mm-hmm.
Paul. You were watching. I think you almost fell from your bed. But
Yeah,
like at least is just great, and to see that he had an interaction with the guy from the War
yeah.
Raiders and with Strowman last night is
Now
good to
is
see.
he on? Is he on Team SmackDown
Cool.
or Team NXT? I mean, for
Who
the
they haven't been
for
revealed yet.
Survivor Series.
No, the five guys we don't know. That's still unknown.
Because if I want him to, just because I want to see him and Strowman do battle. You know what
I
I mean?
think that's
Because we
gonna
didn't see
happen
that.
though.
Yeah.
I think after that
So
interaction that took place last night, I can definitely see those both of them going at it, and definitely strongly believe that both of them will be
and Ryan,
having some kind of
he's
interaction.
he's fact checking right now to see who we can find an NXT team.
We
But
have Ryan. We
yeah,
have Ryan checking.
It just says Team NXT.
oh,
Yeah, it's
that's
still not
see, that's
revealed.
the
Let's
thing. They
still
could
see.
play up injury angles now.
Yeah, man.
You could
Yeah,
have it where
but
it's like, oh, we originally wanted, Keith Lee, but they could, Keith Lee could be hurt. You know what I mean? Like
oh,
storyline hurt, or
and
if it's
and that's
this,
what I mean. Like
yeah.
I know what Ryan is saying because it's the truth. Like they wrestle a lot throughout the year. But for
Mhm.
example, like wouldn't you believe, guys? And this is what I want to conclude the review or the previous and predictions. I want to say Triple H is probably going to tell them, "Hey guys, go with everything you got." But in the
Mm.
back of your head is like, "Hey, I have a really good match tomorrow."
Yeah, but at the
And
same
what am I
time,
supposed to do? Because I don't want to get hurt or want to get anybody hurt. Because tomorrow is my big showing, knowing
yeah,
that the whole entire world is going to be seeing that.
that just to counter that point, the only people who are going to have like a big day are guys like whoever wins this triple threat and Adam Cole. Because anybody else in the the Survivor Series matches, yeah, it's elimination, but with all the other matches on the card, it's going to be quick. Most of the time, you're going to be standing on the outside. You're going to tag in. You're going to hit your signature, hit your finisher.
And
It's either
done.
going to get broken up or you're going to pin a guy, and then the next guy's going to come in. He hits his finisher on you, and you're done. 5 minutes of work. You go back to through Gorilla, and you're done.
And then you're
So
done.
so to me, tonight is 90% of their work, and then tomorrow is just a cakewalk. Besides, again, for those other two guys.
That's right. Well, Ryan, your
For me,
ideas on my statement.
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, when it comes to tomorrow, I think, anybody who's going to be in that tag match, you're not going to be doing much work. There's so many people involved in that match that, it's going to be a clusterfuck. So, to me, this is going to be their big showcasing, I want to say. I get it. Your Survivor Series is supposed to be, a big pay-per-view, one of the big four. I think they have a big five now, but whatever.
We
But
consider the big four because it's always been the big four.
Mm, yeah,
I,
no, Money in the Bank or whatever can.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, we don't need to say anything. That will be a way for say, F you.
yeah. But to me, yeah, I think this is a much bigger showcase for them. NXT has a rabid fan base, and everybody will tune in to watch it just to watch NXT.
Yes. So, closing thoughts, guys. Are we gonna have a great pay-per-view tonight? Is it gonna deliver for us? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right? Good.
absolutely. I mean, to me, NXT always delivers when it comes to Takeover.
Yeah. Here's a tiny question: Is it gonna be? Is it gonna be better than Full Gear?
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes.
There you go. Right?
For me, I'm gonna probably go with yes because I think the War Games is such a great kind of structure and just overall gimmick, and I think that that's gonna just be awesome.
And just me personally, I was invested in the Cody Rhodes Jericho match, but I'm a lot more emotionally invested in these matches going on for War Games, especially the two War Games matches themselves, versus a lot of the matches on Full Gear, because a lot of them were kind of just thrown together. Besides, and John Moxley and Kenny Omega, which I feel is the best match of that whole show. Those were really the only two matches that you cared about. Everything else was kind of just there, just to be there.
Yes.
So that's why I think this show will be better.
Yep, and I agree. I think this show is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Let's hope that nobody gets hurt. I don't know why I keep stressing this out. Maybe I have a prediction in my head. I don't know why I keep stressing that out. But I hope you guys enjoy the previews and predictions. Comment. Please let us know who your picks are. This is going to come out right before the show. So please, we want a lot of interaction with all of you. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to John Paul Egg. We'll be back with you guys soon. We have previews and predictions for the Survivor Series. We love every single one of you. Enjoy the show. So guys, thank you and...
Adaaaaaaa.